So, new Heroscape just dropped, and dropped, and dropped. With prices skyrocketing, how are you supposed to afford all of this? Here are 7 tips to get you breaking through your opponent's ranks without breaking the bank. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, get a full-time job. It's just an 80-hour work week. Loser. This is a real phenomenon called overemployed, where employees will have multiple full-time jobs, often without their employers knowing. Is it legal? Most importantly, you will double your salary. Unfortunately, you will have zero free time, and you'll probably spend your remaining days on your deathbed wishing you had spent that time with your loved ones instead. But that's fine. Oh, wait. Oh, no free time means no time for Heroscape. Uh, okay, next tip. Tip number 2, sell your car. This is a really easy way to get some quick cash. Now, not every car has the same resale value as others. For example, my car has no muffler, no sun visors, or a working driver's side window. Now, I think I could probably get $500 for this hunk of junk, which is almost a full competitive army from Renegade. Unfortunately, I will probably have difficulty actually getting to the Heroscape tournaments now that my car is gone. So let's move on to the next tip. Number 3, sell your kidney. Now, the National Organ Transplant Act technically makes this illegal. However, with how criminal Renegade's prices are on the new Heroscape, this only seems fair. Did you know you don't actually need both kidneys? But heck, you probably don't even need one. Okay, so it turns out you actually need at least one kidney. So let's move on to saving on things you already have to spend money on. For example, the average person uses 400 to 500 gallons of water per month on showering. And while you could incorporate environmentally friendly showerhead technology into your bathtub, you could just not shower. How much you'll save depends on your local water rates, but for my water bill, which is low for the area, I could save up to 42 cents every bill, which is almost $3 per year. Which means in just 25 short years, I'll have enough to buy the pre-painted Thorman and Kraken army box. Very cool. Um, I I just got back from a tournament and they banned me because no one could stand being in the same building as me. So maybe you should shower. But what else is left? What is left for there to save on? Could you save on the product? Number 5, coupons. The Renegade store has a wide variety of coupons to help you save, like Welcome 10, which gives you 10% off on your first order, or Welcome Back 10 for returning customers. Or oh, that's it. Tip number 6, don't order from Renegade. Learn to paint. You're insane if you order directly from Renegade, at least for the unpainted stuff. Online retailers like Miniature Market and Game Nerds have the unpainted stuff all marked down, which is really just a reasonable price, about 20% from Renegade's storefront. They also sometimes run clearance sales, giving you additional discounts. For example, I got the entire Rising Tide wave for about $110 from Miniature Market, which would have cost you like $200 from Renegade, even with the coupon. One thing I've noticed since I released my Heroscape buying guide, which you should absolutely check out, is that Miniature Market hasn't been keeping up with the releases. I'm not sure if they plan to continue to put those in stock, but Game Nerds and other sites like Atomic Empire do still seem to be going strong. There are only 2 reasons you would buy from Renegade at this point, and both of them are mistakes. The first reason is that you want the free promotional miniature. Keep in mind that these go on sale about 6 months after they originally released for about $20, which is still an insane ripoff. But by buying from Game Nerds, like 2 expansions will have already saved you that much money. These will probably also become more common for cheap on the secondhand market as people look to get out of the hobby or offload some of their stuff. For example, here's a major Q11 promo for just $15 from Mantis Gaming Studios, and shipping is only $500. So the promotional miniature isn't worth the money you would save buying elsewhere, unless you need the promotional miniature right away, that kind of mentality isn't great, but I'll cover that later. Okay, I actually just thought of a third reason that you would buy from Renegade Games. It's pretty weak, but if you have to buy from Renegade Games, you should use one of the affiliate links for one of the great creators out there. There's quite a few. Basically, any of the big ones will have an affiliate link. If you must buy from Renegade, please use one of those. I obviously don't have one. I'm making videos like this, so um, and again, don't buy from Renegade if you have to. Please use those links to support the other wonderful creators because I think that is a kind gesture, especially because it's no additional cost to you. You just need to buy through their link, and they will receive a small amount of kickback from whatever you purchase. I don't think anyone is like buying from Renegade only because of that, but I just wanted to bring that up because I didn't have that in my script originally at the start. The second reason is that you need the painted miniatures. I get it, kind of. There's a big appeal to being able to play stuff right out of the box, but here's the thing. You can play the unpainted stuff right away. They will stand up just like the painted miniatures. Mostly.
What the hell is even that?
I'm not here to convince you to give painting a try. Well, maybe a little bit. But frankly, I'm coming at this from a place of privilege because not everyone is able to paint miniatures for one reason or another. But hobby inflation is a very real phenomenon, and if you find yourself having to choose between being able to buy painted miniatures and being able to play with as many of the new units as you want, and I don't even mean like copies of common units, I mean literally just all of the different units because there's so many, then you should consider giving painting a try. By buying unpainted miniatures, you will literally have the cost of new Heroscape, and you'll either learn to love painting or you'll learn to hate the gray so much that you will learn to paint. And painting is the skill of the future because this brings me to my final tip, number 7. Just don't buy Heroscape yet. Patience is a very important skill to have in Heroscape. It's also a very important skill to have in real life. And there's a big reason for this, and it's that 3D printing exists. Any Renegade employees, if you're listening to this, please click off the video and go back to watching Cocomelon because you are not allowed to watch this next part. See, we waited patiently for them to leave. Alright, so 3D printing exists, and there's high quality scans of both all classic and VC models out there somewhere. I'm not going to link to it, but they're pretty easy to find. There's a decent market for it, with several people in the community printing or painting or both. I do all my own printing or painting, but if you don't want to or can't do one or the other, then there's some pretty reasonable prices out there. Even just the prints themselves are still a fraction of the cost of Heroscape, and you can get them looking really close to the originals. Just check out some of this work I've done. Now, nothing exists for the new Heroscape yet, although frankly it doesn't really make a ton of sense for the unique units. I'd rather pay $30 for 6 really high quality miniatures than a few cents for miniatures that just aren't quite as high quality or detailed. Honestly, it's just more fun to paint nice sculpts, and the 3D prints of scans of models just aren't quite there yet, although some people have remixed them as well. For commons, however, you usually want 4 to 6 squads, depending on the squad. So let's take a look at how much you could save by 3D printing.
Oh my god!
Holy fuck. A full grand for viable amounts of this stuff unpainted. This doesn't even include the G.I. Joke units. Oh, okay. I'm actually okay, sorry. I'm kind of I'm blown away by this greed. Yeah, so that's not happening. Very few people have both the desire and the money to drop $1,000 on this much Heroscape. A lot of people have the desire though, so what do you do? This is where 3D prints should eventually come in. Most of my collection is 3D printed. Even if you're not doing your own printing, you can still get someone else to do it for you for a pretty reasonable amount. In this screenshot, there's an average of 5.5 units of each common set. And for a very popular 3D printer in the community, Trexie 3D, you can get a squad of commons for about $9. So by my quick math, you could get an equivalent amount of figures from a popular store in the community for about $450-ish. Now, nobody is going to want to print that much stuff for you, but you can see where I'm going with this. Whatever those unpainted commons cost from any store, you could get Mass Vipers for literally a fraction of the cost if they were 3D printed, even if you go through a middleman to get those prints. Now, I'm not saying someone should do this. I'm not saying somebody should laser scan these models and upload them to a free to use repository for people to download and print for themselves. That would be a big copyright violation. And I'm not saying that. Legally, I am saying don't do that. But if someone were to do that, it would be a big help to the community. And that's where I think we're headed. Unfortunately, these prices just are sustainable. Oh, you thought I was going to say something else? Oh, no. This is just the upward trend. Heroscape made Renegade so much money last year. They're going to pump these out so fast until the end of time with ever increasing prices backed by increasingly lame excuses. All, of course, without compensating their playtesters in any way. We may have avoided slave labor in the manufacturing process this time around, but don't worry, we're still taking advantage of free labor in the design process. It's possible at some point they do stop printing Heroscape. But here's the thing, they will only do that when it becomes unprofitable. If they just keep increasing their prices and people keep paying for it, then it will never become unprofitable. It's likely there's a point where it still happens, and at that point people will be looking to sell their stuff, and you can get those 4 squads of chain gruts you've always wanted on the cheap. But that also requires patience. There's a very messy mindset that pervades the minds of the American public right now, and that it's that you always have to have the newest stuff right when it comes out. Newest phones, newest consoles, newest games. It's damaging to your wallet. And as someone who has always cared about his financial health, and as someone who has had to live frugally out of necessity, I've learned that sometimes the best way to save money is just to be patient. I started playing the Batman Arkham trilogy last month for the first time because the remaster set was on sale. I'm playing these games like 16 years late and loving every second of them, especially because I got what would have been around $150 worth of games new for $13. This is also an aside, I don't have in my script, but I feel like the way COVID just completely shifted how we view hobbies, where it's like no longer just a hobby, it's a full-time job, even if it's not your job. Like content creation plays a part in this, but I feel like even 10 years ago, there wouldn't have been this insane scramble to just get everything no matter what right away when it drops. People would have just been like, wow, that's expensive. I'm not going to pay for that. Because you've got this nostalgia juice injected into the game, and some people feel like they missed out on the first go around when stuff was a lot cheaper. Everyone is desperately like, I'm not gonna miss out this time. I'm getting everything right away. And then they complain about prices. Like, okay, I haven't bought Heroscape since April, and I feel fine. Like, and I'm a competitive player, and not like in the sense that I want to win. Like, I literally play at the highest level at the best tournaments. Like, and I haven't bought new Heroscape since April. Like, you can just make stuff work. You know, I only play like in-person tournaments a couple times a year. I only play with my fiance a couple times a year. So like, you know, in those sense, playing with the real figures, like I could just make what I have work. So that's my advice. Just be patient. I know someday I'll have a complete collection, but that day doesn't have to be right now. And when that time comes, I'll breathe easy knowing that I didn't have to break into my cat's piggy bank and steal their savings to get it done. Alright, this video ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would actually be, but I've seen a lot of complaining online and not a lot of actual solutions, and telling Renegade to lower their prices is not an actual solution. I'm sorry. They're a company, they are infected with corporate greed. It's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. You're just delusional if you think they're gonna charge less for Heroscape, because people are sad that it costs almost $100 per box at this point. Like, it rounds up. So I hope you can take all of these tips to heart, every single one. And if you have any other tips to save money on Heroscape or games in general, leave them in the comments. Now I'm going to go shower for the first time in 3 weeks. Bye. I will probably have difficulty actually getting to the Heroscape tournaments now that my car is gone. So let's move on to the next tip. Perfect. Okay, nailed it.